The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn was written during the Reconstruction era by Mark Twain. This was his pen name. His real name was Samuel Longhorn Clemens. Mark Twain was an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, and much more. His book, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, takes place in southern Missouri before the Civil War. Huck Finn is a poor boy living with his foster family until one day his drunken father comes home and demands custody of Huck. However, his father doesn't care for Huck, but rather wants the money Huck had acquired on his adventure with his friend Tom Sawyer in the previous book Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Huck is fearful of his father because he is an abusive alcoholic and is scared his father will be granted custody of him. However, his father ends up gaining the custody and uses Huck's money on alcohol. Huck, tired of his confinement, decides to fake his own death and run away. He hides out on Jackson's Island in the middle of the Mississippi River where he meets the slave Jim, who is also running away for his freedom. Jim and Huck decide to team up. However, Huck faces many moral dilemmas along the way for helping a runaway slave. He feels bad for Jim's owner because he feels as though he stole something of hers, since slaves are considered property. He says to himself, "What had poor Miss Watson done to you, that you could go see her slave off right under your eyes and never say one single word? What did that poor old woman do to you that you could treat her so mean?" Huck can't forget about the way he was brought up, but his conscience is provoked. He realizes that Jim too is a human being just like him and he deserves to be treated as one. Jim becomes a father figure for Huck and looks out for him and keeps him from trouble. His conscience is tested when a couple of men find Huck and ask him who else is on the boat. The men want Jim because there is a reward out for him. So Huck makes an in-the-moment decision and tells the men that his father is on the boat, but he has an illness that is extremely contagious. The men decide not to check and turn the other way. Huck faces this constant internal battle with Jim with property versus human rights. He says, "I would do the right thing and the clean thing, and go right to that slave's owner and tell where he was, but deep down I knowed it was a lie, and he knowed it." Throughout the novel, Mark Twain criticizes slavery through Huck, in which he shows the humanity of Jim and the cruelty of society. This novel was written during the Reconstruction period after the Civil War was over, but the setting of this novel took place before the Civil War to show that although blacks were freed, they were still slaves to society. Along the way, they are faced with corruption, greed, and racism, in which Mark Twain adds a humorous twist